What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? Who else is excited for this weekend Sean Strickland and Fluffy fight? I'm pretty excited. I got a lot of different thoughts going through my head on like how all these different fights are gonna go out. I think it's a pretty good fight card. Um, but nonetheless, I've been really thinking about as well who is going to fight in the UFC White House card. Now that's actually there's been a whole bunch of like what I want to happen and like John Jones comes to my head all the time. I love John Jones. I wish I could see John Jones fight more. Um, I'm not impressed by McGregor. I really can care less whether he comes back or not. But just names like that, dude. Just the names that we miss seeing, and we kind of just want to see him back in. Nick Diaz is, kind of trying to pop his head out, talking about like he wants to fight again, and he's trying to call these big fights, and I think all these names that are just now you're kind of starting to see back in the gym and stuff with new footage popping out and all this stuff. It's almost feeling like all these guys know that this is gonna be just a huge payday, like obviously, and it's just a huge moment that can like take their superstar careers to just a whole new level, and obviously everybody wants that UFC White House fight. It's big, dude. I think this is gonna take the sport into a whole nother fucking realm, dude. Like, I could be reaching a little bit, but I almost feel like, dude, like how fucking cool would it be if this really just kind of became a thing that like countries kind of like a mini Olympics of some sort, but just for fighting, like countries just kind of like embrace like, okay, we want a badass motherfucker from our section to step up and go whoop on these motherfuckers' ass. Like we want to show out, we want to invest in the best fighter that our country can produce, so I feel like whether that's a reach or not, I feel like UFC White House could be a really big thing, and maybe that's what they're shooting for, bro. But nothing, all that aside, it goes back to who is gonna fight the White House card, and I seen a Chael Sonnen video, man, and it really kind of made me think, and gave me a good reasoning logic on why, like, like those names like John Jones and Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, like why those aren't, why this it's just, it won't happen. It wouldn't happen. It won't happen because those guys aren't willing to pop back out in the ring. Of course those guys will hop in the ring for millions and millions and millions of dollars, even if it means, like them being not in the best shape. They, they're not in the rings training every day, so it's like nonetheless, that like, why do these guys deserve to be in the ring? Why do these guys deserve the biggest fight that the UFC has to offer to this day? Why should they have that chance? So when we think about it like that, when we think about who deserves this chance and why certain people do and don't deserve these chances at these huge, huge marketable fights, and it goes back to when was the last time you seen McGregor, dude? When was the last time that you were just praying that, damn, dude, I want McGregor to come back, bro. I want to see that McGregor and Dustin Poirier fight. I want to see McGregor and fucking Nate Diaz go at it one more time. I want to see fucking Khabib and McGregor. Like how long has and now all these thoughts or all these wish could have been fights are probably not really lingering upon our minds every now and then, but every now and then when you see John Jones talking about he's been in the gym and McGregor saying he's in this new headspace, it is entertaining to think like, damn, is he going to come back? Now, whether he's going to be a threat or not, we're all emotionally attached to these people of some sort. We all kind of grew up watching these people. These people are our legends. So would we like to watch them fight again? Of course, dude. Of course. But when it comes to the Dana White and the people who pick these fights and who give us the UFC, why would they pick somebody and put them on probably the biggest platform that they've ever even gotten given, you know, like this is gonna be a groundbreaking platform for McGregor himself. And that guy is a fucking one of the best fighters to promote himself ever, outside of Chael Sonnen and just, you know, people with that type of character and that type of dynamic to them, you know what I mean, that can just sell themselves. Like, it's not worth it, because when was the last time these guys have made an effort to go fight at any of these previous cards? You know what I mean? Like, when was the last time John Jones was like, yeah, dude, let's try to hurry up and let's try to get this Tom Aspinall fight on the road, dude. We got to give these people what they want. My career's coming to the point where, you know, I'm getting old, you know, like, but no, motherfuckers is worried about picking fights, and, you know, things get prolonged, and so why do those type of guys deserve the fight? When you're gonna fight, maybe not even give this fight your all, because you're already in there, and collect this big bag of money, and then what? We don't see you again for fucking 5 more years, until you're about to announce that you're gonna retire, and that, you know, you're probably not gonna say it, but you need the funds, and you know, you're old as fuck, and you need a retirement fight, you know, to make yourself a little bit more relevant, and a little bit, you know, a little bit more money. But nah, dude, you know, like, we've been waiting for you for years, bro. And, you know, it just gets to the point that people are tired of waiting. And why should you be rewarded with this fight if you're gonna go ahead and fucking cat off? You're not gonna come back. You're just gonna add this to the list of why you're a legend and why you shouldn't come back, you know? So giving somebody like maybe Anthony Fluffy Hernandez a shot, who's fucking, if he takes out Sean Strickland, he's a fucking dude, he's a contender for the belt. And he's gonna be here for a couple more years, possibly. You know? So it makes more sense for those type of people to get the opportunity to fight, or a Justin Gaethje and stuff like that, who's still trying to fucking put on for the UFC because they fucking love it, bro. I don't know. You know, there are a lot of names that we would love to see, but that's kind of how I'm looking at it, dude. That kind of just opened my eyes to, like, will we see a really good fight for the UFC White House event? Of course. They always put on a good show for us. But it's probably not going to be their favorite names. You know, it's probably not going to be the people you really, you know, like to see on a big card like that. How you feel about that? Who do you want to see on the UFC White House event? Peace.